Okay, so good afternoon. Let's start. So first of all, just to recall everybody that we are going to record this session. It will be available in our website. And basically, remember that if you participate at any moment during the presentation, you will be recorded. We will just close the chat now, but later at the end of the session, we will open the chat just for questions you may have, and we will just go for the usual questions and answers, okay? So, formally, let's start. Welcome. My name is Oscar Romero. I'm the Vice Dean of Postgraduate Studies. So today we are going to discuss the Master in Data Science. This is one of the masters offered at the Faculty of Informatics. That's why I'm going to go through first what is FIP for those of you that are not aware or are not familiar with it. I will just go through the master and its structure, and then some ideas about the enrollment procedure and the grants and aids that you may apply in the future in case that you are accepted. So about FIP, FIP belongs to the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya. This is one of the larger public universities in South Europe, and one of the largest as well in Spain, with more than 6,000 bachelor and master students and more than 500 doctoral students graduates. So UPC is a public university, so it means that we follow the public values endorsed by UPC, like social responsibility, sustainability, equal opportunities, and cooperation and solidarity, which is important especially because sometimes we get questions about if there are hidden parameters that we take into account in the admission. No, it's a public university, so age or any other factor like that should not be taken into account is not taken into account. The Faculty of Informatics is the faculty of reference at UPC in computer science. It was born in the '76, so we are about to reach the 50 years next in the 2026. Is the reference faculty in this field, and basically also has been the faculty who has been being the reference, setting the curriculums in computer science in Spain and also in the south of Europe. It's in the south of Barcelona, in this end here, and basically you have some other information in case you are interested. The contact that I will give more information later about how to contact us and for which reasons to whom, and also our general web and social networks in case you want to follow us. So typically in the general information sessions that we have, we explain the main indicators of the faculty, and we justify these things that are claiming here, like why it's considered one of the top 10 computer science schools in Europe, and why the alumni that we have produced in these last years are very well considered. They are in top universities, top companies all over the world, with a top employment rate, which is something quite astonishing from our faculty. But all these details, since today I'm going to focus on the Master of Data Science, I'm going just not to skip them. In case you want to know more, in our website, masters.fip.upc.edu, you can just go through all our masters, and you will find the Master of Data Science there. There is a general presentation. We have a general information where we discuss all the masters at once. There you have the presentation and video that we recorded. There at the beginning, you have plenty of information about FIP and all the details about our faculty and the excellence around it. But today, my main focus on the Master of Data Science. This is what I'm going to focus today. And the first part of this presentation is to explain clearly what is data science. This is another kind of overall question that we discuss here. So when we talk about data science, we talk about data and all the processes needed to extract information from data. So the overall objective is how the economy around the data, so how to extract information from the data and use it for whatever decision you need to make, performs inside the companies, organizations, etc. So the thing is that since 2014, data science has been the sector with higher growth, both in the States and in Europe. Some of them as large as 20% per year, so it's been quite large in growing. And also it's strategic in general because as the European Commission has done in the last years, they have developed what is called the data-driven economy strategy, that is called basically building a European data economy, where the European Union acknowledges the relevance that the companies and all organizations in Europe move towards a data-driven decision-making just to be more competitive especially with the States and China. And the reason is that Europe, unfortunately, is trailing a bit behind the States and China in all the data-driven tasks. So this is not only from the European Commission. For example, the OECD also stated that data science is considered one of the key pillars in the data economy in the 21st century. So it was clear that the data science has been something pretty large in the past, in the recent years. The question is that many times we got again is, but this will stay. So what about the future? Is data science going to be so groundbreaking as it's been? And the answer is yes. So for example, this is the report that the European Commission did for 2025. So basically they created different growth scenarios according to the uncertainty that we have in the world right now. And the key fact that you can extract from all of this is that even in the worst scenario, the unfilled data jobs is estimated to be 5.7% of the whole demand in the market. So it's a pretty large number, which means that people who will just move to this area, and if you are passionate about data, for sure you will have no problems to find a job. So the question is why data is so relevant nowadays. So basically, it's just to move from a setting where you are making decisions in a subjective way. You have a feeling that this may work. I want to try this or that, but just because I have this feeling, to a more objective feeling. No? It's that I'm not anymore with feelings. I have with objective evidences that tell me that this is going to work or not. And this objectivity is what is called the data-driven economy. So I'm trying to extract these evidences for my data, and then I make decisions so that I improve processes inside the company, outcomes, etc. So the thing is that another of the important aspects of data is that it's traversal to any sector. So it's impacting any other sector, and it's transforming them. So we don't have healthcare anymore, we have e-health, right? So typically when we are moving to a digital world where data is considered to make decisions, but also for transports, for creating new products and services within the companies, to reduce cost, to improve the sustainability and energy efficiency, quite important after what happened yesterday, right? And in general, what is happening is overriding the traditional strategies. So now we have names for all of these fields where the data science has come, has transformed completely the field. And we have fancy names for all these, no? The e-banking, the e-health, the smart cities, the smart spaces, a new video game industry, for example, or the Industry 4.0. All of these basically are fancy names for the impact of data when arriving to a certain field and transforming it. The bad news in general is that there are a lot of reports, and you have here a few of them from the European Commission, American reports, etc., that they claim that there is a gap in the supply of skillful data scientists. So we don't have enough data scientists to deal with all the data and all the transformation that is happening in all these fields. And basically, one of the things that we can extract from these reports is that a data scientist must follow a multidisciplinary education. So it means that it's a person that must be able to do analysis, this is data analytics, but must be able to create systems to put it into place in the companies so that this happens in an automatic way. So we don't want or we cannot sustain processes inside the company where all this is done manually. It's not unbeatable, right? And of course, you do analysis and put it into the companies to have a positive aspect on the business. So it means that there should be ways to evaluate if what you are doing has a positive aspect in the business. So one of the key questions about why the universities in the recent years were not able to produce skillful data scientists is because we were not meeting this requirement here. Data scientists must be able to write code and create systems. So they must be able to automate the data processing and managing with the objective of doing data analytics. This is our ultimate objective. And this is the good news for you in case that you are interested in data. Basically, there are many reports claiming that this is one of the best kind of jobs to get into the new century, that the salaries in this field are quite larger or higher than in any other sector. In some of these reports, they claim above 70%. And the good thing as well is that by definition, it's inherent, innovative, and research-oriented, no? Because if you just repeat what you are doing with data, what the competition is doing, what is the value for your business? So you need to bring some innovation, some new ideas, and just develop it in-house, not just copy-paste ideas you had in the past project. And said this is the ground for our master. No? The fifth data science master, what has as an objective is to foster the students with this multidisciplinary education. So meaning that you will be able to apply data management methods and processes to completely manage the whole data life cycle. And this includes traditional data like databases, what is traditional called structured data. But nowadays, in data science, this would not be complete if you are not able to also deal with text, images, video, which is traditionally considered unstructured data. And of course, whenever you have the data already in your systems and prepare for the analysis, you really need to provide the right analysis. So extract the right insights. This means to really extract knowledge from this data and visualize it in a way so people who are not expert are able to understand what are the insights extracted from this data. And again, from disparate heterogeneous formats. So this should be multimodal, so basically any kind of data. All these must be able to be embedded and put into production in complex systems that covers all these phases, management and analysis, and all of these designing data science projects that are innovative so they bring value to the businesses. So the data science syllabus can be checked here, and I will take advantage to explain a bit how it works, this website where you have all the information. Oh, wait 1 second. Let me share again the whole screen. That's it. Now you can see the website. I'm just following the link that you have there. It's masters.fip, this website here. And basically, what you will find here is the overall presentation that I told you you have from the general presentation. This is here, these 2 links here. And the recording that we are doing today will appear here, okay, in these links here. I will focus now in the curriculum of the master. So as you see, there are 54 compulsory credits. So basically the first year is basically mandatory, only 1 elective course in the second semester. Then you have 36 elective credits, 6 of them in the second semester, the other 30 in the third semester. And the last one is the master thesis, 30 of them. So it's a very large master thesis and quite demanding. So here you have all the details, but let me just show you how to interpret it. These are the 5 courses of the first semester. So here you have 2 fundamental courses because data science by definition is very heterogeneous. You will find people here coming from mathematics, civil engineering, computer science. There are quite a few of engineering backgrounds. So these 2 first courses that you find here has an objective to homogenize all the backgrounds. Okay. On the one hand, one from the analytical point of view, this is the statistical inference and modeling. So how to do proper modeling from a statistical point of view of data. The second one, more in the computer science side, algorithms, data structures, and databases. Depending on your background, you follow a different path inside these courses. So it's not the same. If you are computer scientists, we are not going to explain algorithms again. There will be a different track inside these courses, but depends on your background, you adapt and follow a different background in these basic courses. The other 3 are common for everybody. Is data warehousing. The most basic way to do data analysis is what is called the typical statistical description of data, and this is what data warehousing achieves at the end, which is good for companies just to showcase how your data is and provide insights in your company. And then 2 other ways to analyze data. First one is multivariate analysis. This is the statistical point of view of doing mathematical analysis to find correlations in your data. The other one, instead of using data sets to analyze processes. So many times in companies, it's not only you have a data set and that's it. You have several data sets that are connected in a process and data goes through this process. So it's important to analyze the whole thing, the whole process, not just one data set. So this is the objective of process-oriented data science. In the second semester, you have 4 mandatory courses in addition to that. So the first one is big data management, how to use cloud computing, distributed systems just to manage very large data sets and extract insight from this. Semantic data management is more about how to annotate data with semantics so that you have a ground truth of knowledge that you can exploit in your company. Basically, one of the trends that we have now in data science is that when you perform analysis on your data, the results of this analysis should be annotated back in the system. It's what is called a semantic data system, so that you can start from there in the next analysis, kind of an iterative process where you are just improving your knowledge about your data. The other two are more into the analytical part. We have the machine learning, more about the computer science perspective of data analysis. This is more algorithmic, right? And here you are introduced to the basics of machine learning and deep learning. And the other one, finally, is mining unstructured data, is when you have data that is completely unstructured, how to do the analysis, because this is completely different. Here you will showcase it with text, which is one of the traditional unstructured data to be analyzed. And this unstructured data requires new solutions and architectures in the analysis part. For example, in this course, you will be introduced to the transformer architecture and how to use deep learning to analyze text. Finally, you have an elective course that you need to take here, and 30 in the third semester. Where are the elective courses? Just behind. You need to scroll down, and just remember that if you click in any of these courses, you just go to the syllabus of the course, and you will find for any of them the content. Sorry. I have connection problems. I have connection problems for some reason, but anyhow, if you click here, you will just reach the content, and then you will have the objectives of the course, the content of the course, how the evaluation is done. All this information is there, so you can get quite a lot of insights. So we have three groups of elective courses. The first one is how to apply data science to specific domains: transport, health, bioinformatics, etc. The second one is when you want to just go deeper into theoretical aspects of how to analyze data. And the third one is how to bring innovation to the company. What I said, no? Data science is innovative by definition, how to bring innovation and research into the equation. So you will see that the courses that are offered are in these three blocks. There are quite a few courses, for example, in advancing the knowledge that you may want in certain aspects. For example, advanced statistical modeling is presenting you to two different kinds of techniques that are very important nowadays. Time series, how to analyze data when you have a time component. The other one is Bayesian statistics, which is also a very trendy way to do it. Here, optimization techniques for data mining is how to use the traditional mathematical optimization techniques to find optimal points to make decisions despite all your functions, how you describe your data with functions and find optimization points. Here you have advanced machine learning. Here basically is all kernel methods and deep learning. Advanced multivariate analysis, which is more statistical approaches. You have one course specific on how to work with Docker virtualization and this kind of approaches to work in the service in the cloud, etc., etc. So there are quite a lot of them. Indeed, there will be a new one for you that we will open next year, which is on computer vision. We didn't have this course for the Master of Data Science. Next year, it will be available as an elective course for you as well. All these things will appear here as long as we update the syllabus. Then we have things for the applications, for example, human language engineering, bioinformatics, data management. Another course will appear in the near future for health here as well. And then things related with innovation and research, like how to assess if an idea you have is viable from a point of view of the business. Another one is ethics, of course. This is important. Interdisciplinary innovation project is a project where basically you participate with people who come from a business perspective or design and participate in these interdisciplinary projects. So it's a kind of get your hands dirty in a real setting. And finally, another one is about doing research. Is specifically for those that you want to do a PhD after the master. There is this course that tells you what is being a researcher, how to read papers, how to write papers, how to extract information from the papers, and so on and so forth. So basically, this is the details. Please explore it and just follow the idea. But what I want to highlight here is that the data science master, what we are just providing here, is a lot of techniques, tools to analyze data from many different perspectives. So not only from a data set perspective, here we have processes. Here, when we see the semantic data management, we will see also graph data. And then we have the two perspectives. Here in the first semester, you have the traditional statistical perspective, and here you have the traditional machine learning, deep learning perspective. So the idea is that you learn from all these different perspectives to do the same task, because in the end, objective is the same, just different backgrounds that in the end should enrich you as a very powerful data scientist with all the available tools to make the right decision in each project. So I go back to the definition so you can follow it. And then just for the record, this is the local implementation of the European master where we also participate, called Big Data Management and Analytics. That is a reference master in this aspect. So we participate in this, and the master in data science is our local master in data science. So another thing that I want to show you is what kind of master thesis you can generate in the Master of Data Science. Here you have a few of them. I will present you the first ones is what typically most of our students do is to take a field and apply data science to this field. This is the case, for example, in health, where this student was building an 4D MRI blood flow velocity field statistical model. So it's a model that besides it allows to predict how the blood flow velocity is going to vary inside a person. And this was important, for example, just to determine if a person could have a cardiopathy. Just this is the kind of applied data science project. Another applied one would be this. This was related to the Olympics in Tokyo, where a student was just analyzing the wind pattern in coastal areas just to decide if that was optimal or not to just go sailing and have a good race. No, so if you follow the Olympics, it's a problem sometimes to predict if the wind will be enough or not that day for the Olympics. So there was a group of professors here at UPC that were participating in this project, just forecasting the wind patterns. Another classical problem, no? Traffic forecasting. So is it going to be bottlenecks in any of the main streets, and at what time and due to what? This is the kind of simulation that comes from the smart cities area, where with sensors you are monitoring in real time what is the amount of vehicles moving in the areas, in the different roads, and just predict if some of them are going to be blocked in the next few minutes or hours. Then we have another one applied to deciding automatically with what is called a robotic exoskeleton. This was a startup of the UPC. And UPC, one of the things that I will mention in a few minutes is that we generate a lot of startups and spin-offs. And one of them that appeared from UPC was a company that if you are missing an arm, for example, you could use just an exoskeleton to replace your leg or your arm or so on. So this student focused on legs, and basically it was just a data-based approach, so that with the electrical impulses that was receiving the mechanism, if it was to decide if this person was trying to move forward or not, so a step or not a step, right? So if the exoskeleton should move or not, depending on the inputs received by the mechanism that was performed there. So the student was applying data science techniques just to decide, given the electrical impulses received by the human, if the exoskeleton should move or not. And then, of course, something more theoretical. If you are going to a PhD path, this is also something that you can cover in this master. For example, this was a pretty theoretical master thesis trying to account explainability on deep neural networks. If you are familiar with this field, one of the main complaints is that they behave like black boxes. So can we explain why a neural network is predicting something? So that was the objective of this master thesis. And yet another one that is more theoretical is model agnostic process modeling. This one, what was predicting is, given a natural language description of processes, can I generate a process-oriented description in a language that then I can monitor and implement in my data, in my organization. So basically, can I use natural language just to describe what I want and automatically generate a process that can be implemented into the system? This is related with the process mining and the process-oriented data science course that I mentioned in the first semester. So the thing is that around our master data science, what happens is that a large portion of our students are either doing research or already working when they are doing the master. So many of them experience doing research, signing an internship. This is quite usual. Also, our alumni are spread all over the world, doing PhDs in the States, in other countries in Europe, or just working in international companies all over the world. We have a strong internationalization. Around 30% of the students are international. It means not from Spain. And the typical positions that you may get have these fancy names, no? So you have something more in the data engineer field where people focus more on the data management part, the computer science problem. When you focus more on the mathematical problem, this is the usual data scientist or data analyst. Now it's very popular as well. A chief data officer is the officer that just manages the whole data life cycle inside the company and serves this data for the analyst with certain degrees of quality. If we are more fancy and we put the layer of knowledge there, we go for the knowledge engineers, so on, so forth. So about internships that I mentioned before, you can sign internships with a company while you are taking our master with the university. So how the internships work, basically is an agreement to be signed between a company, the student, and the faculty. The representative of the faculty is typically the coordinator or the vice dean of the studies who take this role. And we need to sign what is called a learning agreement. A learning agreement is that the company agrees on conducting a certain task when you go there. And this is signed. So it means that they cannot be changed later. So we know beforehand what you are going to do there, and this needs to be also be acknowledged by the lecturer, the person in the academia that accepts this to be internships. This works very well because it's a safeguard for students. So you can just go there and be sure that you are going to do something interesting and in line with what was proposed at the beginning. Also important is that all the internships at FIP are paid and need to be paid. We don't accept internships that are not paid. And if you are a FIP student, you already know this because it's the same for the bachelor. But for people coming from other universities where sometimes it's fine to have an internship without being paid, and just be aware that is out of our regulations. There is no way we are going to accept this. But don't worry, because the companies know that when they need to pay for an internship, this is very cheap for them. They know that our students are very well trained, and they know that they are making a lot of benefit from signing these internships. We don't have problems with companies that do not want to pay. So don't worry about that. It's something that works fine with us. So this is the idea of the internships. So this is the acronym that we use. Anytime you see CCE, what it means is an internship. And during the studies, you can just do it as extracurricular. It means that you sign this agreement, you do it, but you don't get credits except if you do it for the master thesis. So if during the master thesis you decide to go to a company, you can do it as an internship, and then of course you can claim the 30 CTS of the master thesis. So in our jargon, this is called modality B or D. Modality B is when you go to do the master thesis in a company. And modality D is when you go to a company abroad. Okay, that's the thing. Modality EA is a master thesis here at the university with an academic. Modality C is a master thesis with an academic abroad. That's it. So it's pretty symmetric. So the there is a maximum number of hours you can do per internship is 900 hours. If you also do the master thesis, you can add on top of this 450. And this maximum basically is just to guarantee that the companies are not just hiding bad quality jobs in the form of internships. So you can do an internship just to get trained and so on. But then afterwards, if you have already done this and there is an interest of the company to stay there, sign a contract. Okay. Another of our main points and strengths of the faculty is mobility and internationalization, and especially for students in a master, I think it's especially interesting. So the first thing is that FIP, because we are a very good quality university that has a good reputation international, and also because the city of Barcelona is pretty interesting for foreigners, it's easy for us to sign a lot of agreements with universities everywhere. So right now we have 205 agreements with universities all over the world in 42 different countries. And here you can just do mobility to whenever you can think. In the past, our students were to Chile, Taiwan, Japan, China, so whatever you want to move. And there is a lot of interesting target universities you may want to consider. In the case of MDS, if you want to study abroad as part of your master, you can do it either going 1 year, the second year of the master abroad completely, or 1 semester. But then it needs to be either the third semester, which is the 30 CTS of elective courses, or the master thesis. If you go for 60 CTS, you do both things. 30 CTS of elective courses plus the 30 CTS of master thesis. We do so with very different mobility programs. We have a lot of frameworks. You may know Erasmus+, but there are many others that cover Latin America, States, Canada, Japan, or China, for example. I will explain this in a few minutes, what is this double degrees, but you also can go to do the master thesis in a company abroad, modality D of master thesis. For this, there are other frameworks that are, some of them are the same, Erasmus+ is in both sides, but it means that you go to a company or to a research lab abroad and just simply do your master thesis there. This is the kind of internship abroad. There are many others. For example, sometimes what happens is that mobility is expensive, and sometimes people cannot afford to be 1 year or a semester abroad, even if some of these frameworks come with a grant, but you will not become rich with this amount of money. It's pretty limited. So in case that you would like to experience mobility, but you cannot go for 1 or 2 semesters, there are other activities like the CERN. The CERN every summer offers some stays for some of our students there, and it's a few weeks in Switzerland, or the Google Summer Code. This is another option. There are quite a few that, in case you are interested in mobility and internationalization, more or less, you can try something. And this is getting quite trending in our students. In the last year, more than 200 requested to do mobility. And the thing is that when they come back, they are super satisfied about this experience. And what I want to show here is that when you are going to a company later or a PhD lab, if you have done mobility, something that they are going to evaluate very positively. And the reason is, at the moment that you move somewhere which is not the place where you grew up, and you are able to show that you can succeed in a very different culture like China or Taiwan, it means that you are a flexible person. And a person that can adapt, can be flexible, can work with others. And this is something that in the internationalization context we have right now, both in companies and universities, this is very positive. So consider mobility and internationalization as a good way to strengthen your curriculum and your transcript. So then there is another option to do mobility, is what we call double degrees. A double degree is a mobility to another university, right? But the difference with a regular mobility is that with a regular mobility, you go 1 or 2 semesters to another university, go there, take some courses, do maybe the master thesis, and when you come back, we incorporate these courses and this master thesis in your local transcript. But at the end, you only get one title, the title of Master Data Science from FIP. When you do a double degree, you do the same, you go somewhere, you do some courses, maybe the master thesis, but then when you come back, you get the title from UPC, but also the title issued by the university where you were hosted. So it means that you get 2 degrees, right? Basically, it's a different kind of agreement. It's an agreement where the hosting university recognizes the credits done at UPC as part of the degree as well. That's why you come back with 2 of them. And there are a few options that you can do. The first one is the University of Padova, which from data science and from the traditional universities in Italy is one of the most reputed ones. So to do this, you need to do the first year of the MDS here and take all the mandatory courses plus 6 ECTS of an elective course. And then go to do the data science master in Padova, the second year, for 60 extra ECTS. This is a very good fit because just realize that doing the 2 years of the master, you come back with 2 degrees, okay? The Master of Data Science in FIP and the Master in Data Science from the University of Padua. The second option is the National University Jean-François Champollion from France. Basically here, again, very similar. First year of MDS, mandatory courses plus 6 elective courses, plus 60 CTS in the Engineering Informatique pour la Santé. This is a double degree very oriented to health. So what you are going to do there is taking courses about how to apply data science in health. So this is a good double degree to consider if you are interested in health and data science. But here realize that you need to do more than 2 years. You need to do the 2 years plus doing the master thesis back to FIP. So you need 2.5 years to get the 2 degrees. And the third option is Georgia Tech in the States. So basically here again is 2 years, 1 year in Barcelona doing the MDS first year, then going to Georgia Tech in the second year. Georgia Tech is in Europe, in Metz, and also obviously the headquarters are in Atlanta. So for the second year, you spend the first semester in Georgia Tech Europe, the second semester in Atlanta. So it implies 2 mobilities really, one to France, another one to the States. Basically this is the agreement with Georgia Tech. We are now signing something similar with the Illinois University, so that it will be another option for the States, very similar in format to Georgia Tech, but it's not signed yet, and it's not available here. But most probably when you reach mobility, this will be an option for you. So mobility and internationalization requires to prepare well in advance. So you need to apply 1 year before moving. So that's why we have a lot of information here in our website. Just checking the outgoing, you have all the options. And also we organize information sessions. Every year there are 2 information sessions right before the biggest deadlines we have for the main frameworks of mobility. One at the middle of the first semester, so end of November. The second one mid-February for mobility in the second semester. And here is where typically you are informed about what paperwork you need to do, how to prepare, how to apply, and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in doing mobility, please do not miss these information sessions. It's very important just to successfully apply and be accepted. We have a set of people working on just international relationships, and if you have more doubts about anything that we are discussing here, you can follow this email to ask about mobility and internationalization in general. So the last part I want to include as well is that this master, most of the lecturers that you will find do research, so it's also another option to strengthen your curriculum while doing this master is doing some research and innovation. And basically here I want to highlight that UPC is a leading research institution. Indeed, it's very research oriented. So we are a top university in Europe obtaining funding from the research-oriented projects from the European Commission. We are also leading in startups and spin-offs and so on, and many of our students work in startups and spin-offs created by UPC. And in general, there is a good atmosphere that if you are interested in research, it's very easy to participate. Just reach any of our research groups, departments, whatever, discuss with the lecturers that you like in your courses, and see if they have options. You can formalize an agreement with them via research grants or internships, okay? But there is another third option that we are going to open from this semester, that we have an elective course, a new elective course called Introduction to Research. So you can participate in a research project, in a research group, and claim 6 ECTS from this participation. So it's just a way to taste what is research, try to understand how it works, and also because companies many times they evaluate quite positively that people know a bit about what is research and how to bring innovation at the end to the companies. So these are the areas of our research groups. Basically, being a polytechnic university, if you are interested in something, there is a research group associated to that. So in mathematics, business administration, computers architecture, physics, services and information systems, computer science, statistical and operational research, automatic in general, industrial informatics. So there are plenty of them. If you look the general information session that is public in our website, you will find the list of all the research groups and how to find them. And you will see that there are quite a lot of options for you to get into research. So after this, that is the main part of my presentation, I will present how to do the enrollment in case you are interested. Basically, the enrollment follows six steps, sorry. And there is here a link where you have materials from UPC, how to follow this with videos in a very easy manner to follow. The first step is to register. You need to register in our tool that is called Prisma. There you need to enter your personal and academic details. Whenever you are done and you have introduced absolutely all of them, and I insist it's all of them because until you have done so, it does not appear the button to move to the next step. You need to pay some fee to do the admission. This is a 30 euro fee. And then when you pay this fee, your candidacy arrives to the selection committee. The selection committee checks all the applications and decide the ones that are accepted. We have for this master 40 seats, okay, so 40 places. Once we have already sent you an acceptance letter, you need to explicitly accept. And it means that you need to enter into the same system where you register, accept, and then to block this seat for you, you need to advance 300 euros from your enrollment. This 300 euros is just a payment in advance of your enrollment that we typically do in July here. The enrollment after being accepted is in July. Why do we have this payment before? It's basically a way to do not waste resources. What happens in our masters is that we have a lot of demand, especially MDS is one of them. So we have 40 people who are selected, but we have quite a few of them that stay in a waiting list. And what happens is that if one of these 40 people drop very late, we cannot reassign this position to someone in the waiting list. So what is the way we found just to guarantee that this position is not lost? If you are committed to come, pay 300 euros, that then if you enroll, they will be deducted from your enrollment, but if you finally do not come, you lose this money. So this way, people have a couple of weeks to decide if they want to follow the master. If they don't, that's fine, but then we have time to move to the next in the waiting list. So these are the dates. You can apply to this master till the 21st of May. So we have 2 admission periods. One has already passed, and people who applied here already got the notification. Well, they will get the notification this Wednesday. It's just still not there. The second period, the deadline is 21st of May, and then tentatively it will be the 15th of June, the answer for this application period. If there were available seats, we open a third period, but I can already tell you in advance for this master, it will not happen. So I have it here for completeness because this happened for some other masters, this may happen, but not for the MDS. What I want to highlight here is that when you just, let me show you here the website that, when you go to the admission in masters, here you have what we are going to evaluate, okay? So the thing is that Master of Data Science, you meet there a lot of people with heterogeneous backgrounds. So here you have first what we are looking for, recommended bachelor degrees. You can still have the idea what we want. Basically, as a student with profile in computer science or mathematics, and many times this is already achieved with just an engineering bachelor. Okay, so here you have the typical ones that we are accepting. We have a lot of people coming from physics, mathematics, telecommunications, civil engineering, industrial engineering. This is kind of a profile that fits well our master. But then here, what I want to show you as well is what we are going to evaluate, if I find it, selection criteria here. The selection criteria basically is the academic transcript, which accounts for 60% of the weight of the evaluation. It means your marks in the bachelor, how well you perform there. But realize that there is quite a lot of things that do not fit in the transcripts, so it's important. And in a master with high demand, it's important to balance well all the points in order to get accepted. And the first one is the relevance of the bachelor. So it's not only what you did, but are you an eager person that have already been just trying to find things about data science? Are you interested in this? Are you genuinely interested? Another one is your background and professional experience. Have you already been working, doing research, moving to another company, to another university, doing mobility in your bachelor, and taking some courses in data science? And finally, look, the weight of the motivation letter, 15%. It's quite a lot, and this makes in this master many people to be in or out. What we are looking for this master is genuine people looking for doing this master with real interest. And it's important for us to have a diverse set of people. Data science is diverse and heterogeneous by definition, and this most probably will answer one of the questions that I will get nevertheless later. We don't look for 40 computer scientists or for 40 mathematics people. We look for people with different backgrounds so that when the cohort is live here and they just meet, they enrich each other. And we want people who are willing to participate in this community to provide also value to the others. And this is shown typically in the motivation letter. So what is the objectives that you have with this master at midterm or long term? How is this going to change if you are accepted or not? Why you decided to go to data science? What you can also contribute to the cohort where you are going to participate? What are your strengths? And this could be just traversal skills, no? Other things that could be interesting for the others. Try to explain very well why you are motivated to do this master, because at the end we are looking for very motivated individuals. And nothing else, just for completeness, let me show you how to apply. You need just to scroll down till this button here. When you click this button, you go to the first step of the process. From there, you introduce your personal details and academic details, and you are set. So these are the prices that we have right now in place for this year. So this is per ECTS. So if you are a European student or not, the price is different. Nevertheless, for next year, the prices will be published in July. This is set by the government. We are a public university. We don't have a say in these prices. Nevertheless, we don't expect any change. The prices are likely to stay like this. Okay. And finally, the last part that I also want to consider is that since our masters and degrees have a good reputation among companies and organizations, we have specific grants that are for our students that are provided by companies or organizations that they see value in funding our students. This list of grants is always updated in July. So after the admission, when you are admitted, when all the masters have finished admission, we update these grants and then you are up to apply to them. So there are grants, this is from the past, but you have, for example, here companies like Accenture, Cedor, NTT, or others. And then you have foundations like FitVisiona or Nacho Navarro, which are other kind of grants. Anyhow, just read the small letters here, see if you are interested, but in the end, you could just get a grant that covers the fees of your master. This might be interesting. I must say that we never cover all the grants. There are always some grants that we are not covering in the past. This is happening every year, so consider them, and also be aware that some companies will ask you to go to the company to do an internship. If you get the grant, read the small letters and decide if this is up for you or not. And some questions that I may get, and I will advance them. So the typical question that we get is that if I can apply to a master even if I have not finished my graduate studies yet. And the answer is yes. This is the usual, right? People apply to a master when they are finishing in this academic year. So here, the only thing that I need to tell you is that please consider two different settings. If you are going to finish before July, which is the first enrollment, it's not a big issue. You just apply now. You really need to provide your current transcripts as they are now. And then if you are accepted, you will be conditionally accepted to finishing your bachelor. Okay? If you are done before July, that's it. But there are options for people who may finish up to October. Okay? Coming from other countries or whatever, that sometimes they finish later, such as July or August, and they cannot get the title till September or October. This is still fine. The strict deadline is October. In October, you must have finished the bachelor. In these cases, we have a procedure that if you are accepted, we allow you to the materials and you are kind of enrolled but not really enrolled. So you have access to the materials and the courses, provided that by the end of October, you provide all the documentation that you require to be properly enrolled. And there is yet another exception, is if you are an UPC student, you can start the master without finishing the bachelor, but this is only for UPC students. There is a new regulation a couple of years ago that says that a student from UPC can start a master without finishing the bachelor, means without the bachelor thesis and 9 ECTS at most. In short, if you finish before July, this is fine, pretty safe. If you finish by October or you are UPC student, please contact us in FIP InfoMasters. Tell us your specific case, and we will just tell you how to do it and if you are okay with your dates. The second question, can I work and study at the same time? I hope it was clear that it's a big yes, right, in this master, so you can do that. You can move to part-time. The first time you enroll, the system will ask you if you want to enroll full-time or part-time. Enrolling part-time means that instead of taking at most 30 CTS, which is the usual in a semester, you can take at most 18, okay? So it means in our numbers it's 3 courses. So if you take 18 ECTS, of course you are taking one more semester at least to finish the master, but then you can better work and study at the same time. Another question, because we have quite a lot of foreigners in this master, we get the question that if I'm a foreigner and I move here, then I can benefit of the internships and mobility I was explaining, and which are one of the nice things of our masters. And the answer is yes. At the moment that you are accepted, you will get a visa, a student visa, and then whenever you reach here, the only thing you need to do is just have the same rights as any other student. So you can do mobility, you can do internships, everything is fine. And finally, what if I'm a student from China, I've been accepted, do I need to come here to enroll in July? And the answer is no, enrollment is online. Okay, so you get instructions where to access to our website, do the registration following the instructions there, you pay the taxes, you are done, and you can do it even from the beach, right? So in July, probably. So it's something that you can do online. There is no need to come face-to-face like in the past was like. And that's it from my side. So we will open now the chat, and you can write your questions in the chat. I will read them aloud and provide the answers. So I will give you a few minutes to provide your questions. Meanwhile, the people we have here, if you have a question here, one second, you need the mic, otherwise I will not hear you there.
So in my case, it's also related to work. You will recommend that for people that are working and studying at the same time, it's better to do part-time rather than full-time master?
So we had people who did both things, right? So in the end, it's up to you and your capacity to deal with both things at the same time, okay? So what I would say is a demanding master. So it means that if you go full-time, what people typically tell me is that forget about your social life probably during this period. And another thing is that other students told me, okay, I manage, I'm fine to sacrifice my social life for 1 or 2 semesters, but the thing is that maybe I'm not enjoying that much the master, because one of the things that we have here at FIP is that the courses have a very big practical part. So it means that besides the theoretical part, all of them have labs where you have projects, and these projects tend to be quite large because in data, it needs to be realistic. So they are not easy to manage these large projects. And if you want to squeeze them, it's a lot of time. So I would say you can do it. You can just be full-time studying and working, but I would say try to see and leverage what is your objective, and if you would like to maybe you can just do something in between. You can take, I don't know, 24 ECTS. This is something that you can still do. What I would advise then is that you contact the coordinator of the program, discuss what you have in mind, how to organize your academic path. It's something that I always advise from the very beginning. Be clear what courses I'm going to take, how I'm going to structure it. Because another thing that it's important is that not all the courses are offered every semester. So you have 2 years, it means that every course you have 2 chances for each of them. So it's good to organize yourself and know what you're going to take. So this would be in this part, no? You can always try in the first semester and then decide.
Totally, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I don't know if we have questions in the chat. See, we have a couple of them. So Floris is asking, my bachelor focused on data engineering and business intelligence, but only had statistics when it comes to mathematics. Would I still qualify for this master? Yes, because if you remember, during the first semester, we acknowledge that some people will come with a weaker statistical background, so we have a complete course on statistical modeling for this kind of profiles. So in general, what you are proposing fits pretty well with the background we expect in this master. Ginal is saying students are allowed to pursue internships from which semester? So from the very beginning, from the first one. So as soon as you are a student, you need to be enrolled. This is important. Enrollment needs to be there, and from there on, you can start already pursuing internships. Jaroslav is asking, my bachelor is quantitative methods. Basically, it's statistics, econometrics, databases, and mathematics, but there is no programming. However, I learned it by myself. Would I still qualify for these masters? We have one of the basic courses is algorithms, data structures, databases, right? So it's specifically for this kind of profile. But I would say, if you want to take this master, nevertheless, the academic rigor that you will find there can be quite overwhelming. So I would say prepare well. So it's something that the committee needs to evaluate. In general, for what you say, it seems that it could be a match for the profile that we are looking for, but I would advise to prepare from an academic perspective, not only courses in Python that you may find online, but maybe from universities or academic books, just to learn algorithmics, not only programming, say, because this will help you during the first semester to follow this course on programming, data structures, and databases. So I would say my advice here would be prepare well in advance and contact us so we can put you in contact with the coordinator that has some online resources for those of you interested in strengthening your profile, okay? Ginal asked, do we have to apply for the double degrees separately? Which is the process like? The double degrees work exactly the same as mobility. So when we have these mobility sessions, double degrees are also described there. And then they have deadlines to apply. You just need to follow them, and that's it. So in the information sessions that we have for mobility, you will be informed about the double degrees and how to apply to each of them. More questions from your side? No? Okay. What has been the acceptance rate for the program so far in past years? I mean, it's, I don't like to disclose this kind of numbers because I think it depends a lot on the demand that we are getting every year. And in the end, I don't think that it's important what we got or not in the past. So I can tell you this is a master with a high demand, and we only have 40 seats, unfortunately, to cover the demand. But just do your best with your application if you are genuinely interested. Motivate well. And as I show, it's not only the grades, there are all other factors that we are considering when evaluating the candidates. Do your best, and that's it. Don't worry too much about these ratios. More questions? Okay, let's stop here then. Oh, last minute question. Does the Commission take into account the difficulty of university which come from... Yes, of course. Yes. We are aware that there are universities that are more difficult. We are aware also that there are regions in the world where scoring a 10 is very high, is very difficult, and in other regions that scoring a 10 is very easy. We are very much experienced in this kind of things and evaluation of candidates from all over the world. Don't worry about that. This is considered. Any other question? Okay, so let's conclude here. Thank you everybody for your interest in our master, and thank you for attending this session. As I said, this is going to be recorded and we will make it available in our website in the next days. Nothing else. Hope you decide to apply and hopefully to see you next year in our masters. All the best for the future. Jaroslav, I see your question. Please contact InfoMasters for this kind of question. But there is a sheet where you need to do some translations and then sign it. Okay.